When Nike signed SHEDEUR Sanders as their first zero football athlete, before he had even played a single NFL down, it looked like a branding experiment. But with a full apparel line, a viral only a matter of time campaign, and a Times Square billboard rollout, it quickly became clear this was something far bigger. By the time Sanders took the field for his preseason debut, where he posted 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 106 passer rating, Nike had already made him the face of a movement. Personalized cleats, limited edition sneakers, youth and women's cuts. Sanders wasn't just being marketed. He was being embedded into the fabric of Nike's identity. The result? Over $250 million in jersey sales in a matter of weeks. SHEDEUR Sanders isn't just redefining what it means to be a marketable rookie. He's setting the pace for how sports brands and athletes partner at scale.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This is about long-term vision, not viral moments. With plans for a signature shoe already underway and his nil clause locking in revenue streams from every angle, Sanders is doing more than selling gear. He's building a brand blueprint for the next generation of athletes. $5 million in 10 minutes. That's not a marketing slogan. That's a financial reality. And it just flipped the entire structure of rookie earnings in the NFL on its head. SHEDEUR Sanders, drafted 144th overall in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns, has already made more money off the field than most rookies make in their entire rookie contracts. This isn't exaggeration. It's numbers. His 4-year rookie deal is worth $4.6 million. Meanwhile, just from endorsements and merchandise, he's cleared way past that. We're talking $5 million in endorsement earnings, generated in under 10 minutes, and over $14 million in jersey sales alone. Yes, a 5th-round pick is now the highest-paid rookie in NFL history. And not because of touchdowns, not because of performance bonuses, but because of one thing, the prime equity clause. That clause is the game changer. It's a provision in his contract that gives SHEDEUR a direct percentage of all revenue tied to his name, image, and likeness. Jerseys, merchandise, sponsorships, promotional content, it all flows back to him. This isn't a player being paid to perform. This is a player entering the NFL as a partner. The clause essentially redefines his role, not just an athlete, but a co-owner in his own brand. That's not how it usually works. Most players sign their contracts, maybe land a few deals on the side, and get what they're given. But SHEDEUR's deal turns that model upside down. Instead of being an asset, he's an equity holder. Instead of being paid for what he does, he's earning from who he is. And no company understood that better or faster than Nike. Nike made its move before the NFL ever called his name. They signed him while he was still at Colorado, making him their first zero football athlete. Translation? Nike saw his value before the league did. And they didn't just sign him, they built an entire rollout around him. Before draft night, there were custom cleats, coordinated social campaigns, and a narrative campaign called Poetry in Motion that tied his college career to his future stardom. Even though he was drafted later than expected, surrounded by rumors of entitlement and off-field drama, Nike didn't pull back. They doubled down. And then came his preseason debut. 14 completions, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. Solid, confident, efficient. That was all Nike needed. Within hours, they dropped a slick, viral ad featuring his signature watch celebration. The tagline? Only a matter of time. And that tagline hit hard. The ad went viral within hours, racking up millions of impressions and hundreds of thousands of likes. The kind of buzz you can't manufacture, and definitely don't expect from a 5th-rounder. The impact was immediate. Jersey sales exploded. In the weeks after his debut, rookie jersey sales hit $250 million. And a massive chunk of that was SHEDEUR's name on the back. These weren't just football fans buying in. This was a cultural moment. SHEDEUR's face, name, and celebration became a commercial phenomenon. Nike didn't stop at jerseys. They launched an entire apparel line under the Sanders brand. Youth-sizing, women's cuts, graphic tees, limited edition sneakers that sold for up to $200. Authentic game jerseys retailing at $175. This wasn't a test run. This was a global rollout. They even locked in a Times Square billboard. SHEDEUR's iconic watch pose, broadcast to the world's most commercialized corner. The message? He's not just a player, he's a brand. And that branding strategy is only getting deeper. Insiders say Nike is already developing a signature shoe line for him, with working titles like LL2C and Proto 92. That move for a rookie quarterback? Almost unheard of. But it shows where this is headed. Nike isn't just investing in a season. They're investing in a decade. They want to build SHEDEUR into part of their cultural DNA, right alongside icons like Jordan and LeBron. But not everyone's celebrating. In fact, the backlash has been loud. Off the field, SHEDEUR's faced intense scrutiny. 2 speeding tickets, 91 in a 65 miles per hour zone and 101 in a 60, sparked headlines that felt way too loud for what they were. Veteran players do this kind of thing every season and barely get a mention. But with SHEDEUR, it became part of a larger narrative. Is he focused? Is he mature? Is he more concerned with branding than football? And then came the character critiques. Suddenly, confidence looked like arrogance. Business moves looked like entitlement. The same swagger that would be framed as leadership in white quarterbacks became a red flag for SHEDEUR. The double standard is loud and clear. When a young black quarterback walks into the league with his own commercial blueprint, the old system doesn't know how to process it. So it does what it always does, casts doubt, creates noise, questions the narrative. And that's what SHEDEUR is up against. Because even as he outperforms fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, 106 preseason passer rating compared to Gabriel's 66, he's still framed as the maybe, while others are treated as the safe bet. Despite putting up real numbers and building a massive fan base, there's this constant undertone that he hasn't earned it yet. But what does earned it even mean anymore? The truth is, SHEDEUR's success isn't just personal. It's structural. The prime equity clause is already being studied. It's already inspiring conversations in locker rooms, among agents, in sports law circles. If SHEDEUR keeps performing, this clause becomes the model. Players aren't just employees anymore, they're business units. They'll start demanding equity, ownership, brand partnership. They'll want what he has. And that scares people. Because if players gain that kind of leverage, it shifts the balance of power. Teams lose exclusive control. Sponsors have to negotiate differently. The economics of the sport start bending toward the athlete. This is why SHEDEUR's rise is so disruptive. It's not just what he's doing, it's what it represents. And if he fails, if the hype fades, or he's benched, or he struggles in the regular season, you already know how the league will spin it. See, this is why rookies shouldn't focus on branding. This is why nil power doesn't belong in the NFL. His failure won't just be personal. It'll be used as proof that players should stay in their lane. But if he succeeds, then the game changes forever. And not just the NFL. College players, high school prospects, even other pro leagues will start demanding a different deal. Because they'll have proof that a rookie with a clear brand strategy and the right equity deal can out-earn the league itself. Right now, SHEDEUR Sanders is sitting at the center of that shift. And the clock isn't ticking down. It's just getting started. So, where do you stand on it? Is SHEDEUR Sanders blazing a new trail that other rookies should follow? Or is this all just a flashy bubble waiting to pop? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with someone who's been following the chaos. Hit that like button if you're into players flipping the script. And subscribe if you want more breakdowns from the front lines of fame, sports, and everything in between. Because what SHEDEUR just pulled off, that's not just history. That's a warning shot. And now here we are, still talking about SHEDEUR Sanders. And not because of a last-minute Hail Mary or a game-winning drive, but because he just broke the blueprint every rookie quarterback was handed. This isn't a feel-good sports story. This is a hostile takeover of the old system. A fifth-round pick 144th, walked into the NFL and started moving like a first-ballot Hall of Famer, financially, at least. And no, it's not hype. Its receipts: $5 million in 10 minutes. Over $14 million from jersey sales. A total merchandise frenzy generating $250 million after his preseason debut. Let's say that again, preseason. Not even the regular season. And the world is already wearing his number. That's not just rare, it's seismic. And yet, as the headlines roll in, there's this undercurrent of discomfort. Because the league knows what this means. When a fifth-round rookie can become the most profitable new face in football without even securing a starting spot, the NFL has a problem. Not a PR problem, a power problem. They built a system that was supposed to reward rank and tenure. Higher draft, bigger bag. Do your time, then maybe get the endorsements. But SHEDEUR flipped that script, and now everyone's scrambling to revise the rulebook. He didn't wait for the league to crown him. He built his crown outside the gates and walked right in with it. The prime equity clause was the battering ram. A simple but revolutionary idea. Give the athlete a slice of everything tied to their name, image, and likeness. Not just some flat endorsement deals. Not a check here and there. But true equity. Real ownership in every dollar generated off their brand. And in SHEDEUR's case, that brand moves. It wasn't just Nike tossing him a logo patch and calling it a day. They went all in. From the moment they signed him as their first ever zero football athlete, before he ever set foot on an NFL field, they made their intentions clear. He wasn't going to be their next athlete. He was going to be the athlete. A full pre-draft marketing campaign. A narrative called Poetry in Motion. Custom cleats. Social media activations. Targeted storytelling designed to connect college success to pro-level ambition. All of it happened before a single NFL GM called his name. And when that name didn't get called until the 5th round, Nike didn't flinch. Because draft position doesn't move culture. Relevance does. Then came the preseason. And SHEDEUR delivered. 14 completions. 138 yards. 2 touchdowns. Enough to validate the noise. Enough to show he wasn't just a marketing fantasy. That's when Nike dropped the bomb, the ad with the now famous watch celebration. Only a matter of time. 3 words. Millions of impressions. Hundreds of thousands of likes. And then the real shockwave. $250 million in rookie jersey sales. People don't buy that much merch for players they don't care about. Fans, kids, sneakerheads, even casual viewers, they all bought into the SHEDEUR effect. And Nike kept it rolling with a full product line. Youth jerseys, women's cuts, graphic tees, limited edition shoes priced at $200, and authentic jerseys at $175. They even lit up Times Square with his pose. You don't do that for a developmental project. You do that when you're launching a movement. And apparently, it's not stopping there. Reports say Nike is already cooking up a signature shoe line under project names, like LL2C and Proto 92. That kind of commitment isn't made lightly, especially not for someone who hasn't even taken a regular season snap. This is legacy building stuff. And Nike's not treating SHEDEUR like a risk. They're treating him like a pillar. But with that spotlight comes heat. The media attention hasn't been kind. 2 speeding tickets, 91 in a 65 and 101 in a 60. And suddenly every outlet wants to question his maturity, his focus, his priorities. Let's be honest, if a veteran quarterback did the same thing, it might get a footnote in a local sports blog. But SHEDEUR? It became national commentary. And that's not an accident. Because once a young black quarterback starts redefining the business model, suddenly the microscope comes out. Every misstep is magnified. Every expression of confidence becomes arrogance. The same traits that get praised in white quarterbacks, swagger, leadership, competitiveness, get pathologized in SHEDEUR. Is he too into branding? Does he care more about his merch than his playbook? Is he already a distraction? Meanwhile, his numbers are outperforming his competition. His passer rating in the preseason? 106. Dylan Gabriel, another rookie he's competing against, posted a 66. And yet, the headlines keep dancing around his results, focusing instead on perception. Because that's how institutional pushback works. When the system feels threatened, it doesn't debate, it undermines. But SHEDEUR's not going anywhere. And the bigger picture here is that the ground is shifting beneath the league. If this model succeeds, it sets a new precedent. Future rookies are going to walk into draft meetings with an entirely different mindset. They'll point to SHEDEUR and say, I want a prime equity clause too. They'll ask for nil rights, percentages, brand, collaboration. They won't just want to play, they'll want to profit. And that terrifies the old guard. Because for decades, the model has been simple. Control the narrative, control the athlete. SHEDEUR just took control of himself. And now he's the example. This goes way beyond endorsement deals. It's about how the athlete fits into the broader ecosystem of sports, media, and commerce. Nike's strategy reflects a bigger shift, from renting athlete influence to co-owning it. They're not just attaching SHEDEUR to their brand. They're building one with him. And they're doing it early, because the earlier you build, the longer you reap. This isn't about what SHEDEUR does this season. It's about where he'll be 5, 10 years from now. They're not chasing short-term profits. They're betting on permanence. And that's what makes this moment so important. It's not about whether SHEDEUR starts week 1, or whether he wins Rookie of the Year. It's about the fact that, without ever needing a regular season highlight, he's already changed how rookies are valued. And that's power. If he sustains performance, it proves this model works. It becomes the new gold standard for athlete empowerment. If he fails, league executives will weaponize it to shut future athletes down. They'll point to it as proof that branding before performance is a mistake. It's high stakes, no question. But the fact that we're even here talking about contract clauses and brand ownership and cultural influence because of a 5th-round pick says everything. This isn't just about one player's rise. This is about an industry rethinking its foundations. Whether the NFL wants to admit it or not, SHEDEUR Sanders has already done what most rookies can only dream of. He forced a billion-dollar league to react. Not with a rule change, not with a press release, but with silence. The kind of silence that happens when an institution doesn't know what to do with a player it can't control. Let's talk about what that silence really means. Because SHEDEUR didn't just walk into the league with confidence. He came in with leverage. And that's a word the NFL does not like when it's coming from a 5th-round draft pick. Especially not one who's already out-earned his contract before taking a single regular season snap. For years, for $0.6 million, that's the number the league signed him to. But thanks to that prime equity clause, he made $5 million in 10 minutes. From brand partnerships, nil rights, endorsement earnings, not touchdowns, transactions. That clause gave him a percentage of every dollar tied to his name, image, and likeness. And the results weren't just record-breaking, they were disruptive. He passed $14 million in jersey sales alone. Let that sink in. This isn't just an athlete with potential. This is a business case in cleats. And let's not gloss over what it took to even get that clause into his deal. That kind of language isn't standard. Not for rookies. Definitely not for 5th-round picks. That clause represents months, maybe years, of planning, positioning, and negotiation. And it didn't happen because someone at the league office felt generous. It happened because SHEDEUR came in with a brand already built. Nike saw it, long before the league did. While GMs were still debating his draft value, Nike signed him as their first zero football athlete. That term? It's no throwaway. It means Nike backed him before he played a single NFL down. They saw the influence. They saw the numbers. And more importantly, they saw what the league missed, market power. So when draft night rolled around and SHEDEUR's name didn't get called until pick 144, Nike didn't blink. They already had the rollout ready. Custom cleats, pre-draft marketing, a narrative campaign called Poetry in Motion that tied his college rise to pro-level ambition. They were positioning him not just as a prospect, but as a cultural figure. Then came the preseason debut. And SHEDEUR didn't just show up, he delivered. 14 completions, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the beginning of something no one could stop. Because right after that game, Nike dropped the now iconic watch celebration ad. 3 words, only a matter of time. It went crazy. Millions of impressions. Hundreds of thousands of likes. But most importantly, it triggered a wave of jersey sales so massive that it moved $250 million merch revenue. This isn't supposed to happen. Not for rookies. Not this fast. And yet here we are. But the rollout didn't stop at jerseys. Nike went full throttle. Youth jerseys. Women's apparel. Graphic tees. $200 limited edition sneakers. $175 game-authentic jerseys. All with SHEDEUR's name stamped on them. Then came the Times Square billboard. Front and center. His signature pose, larger than life. At that point, he wasn't just a football player. He was a symbol. A signal that the old model was broken, and something new had arrived. And while all of this was happening, while sales were surging and social media was lighting up and kids were practicing the watch celebration in their mirrors, the media suddenly found its angle. The off-field concerns. 2 speeding tickets. One for going 91 in a 65. One for 101 in a 60. Was it wrong? Sure. Was it reckless? Maybe. But was it worth wall-to-wall coverage? Absolutely not. Because let's be honest, those kinds of citations happen across the league constantly. Veterans get them. Top picks get them. But SHEDEUR gets painted as a distraction. The question isn't why the media latched onto those incidents. It's why now. Because that narrative, the one that questions his character, his priorities, his focus, didn't come out of nowhere. It came the moment SHEDEUR stepped outside the league's mold. He didn't ask permission. He didn't play the humble rookie. He walked in with a brand louder than most franchises. And that makes the system uncomfortable. Suddenly, every ounce of confidence gets labeled as entitlement. Every business move becomes arrogance. Meanwhile, white quarterbacks with the same attitude get branded as alpha. Leadership material. Natural competitors. The double standard is old, but that doesn't make it any less ugly. And SHEDEUR? He's living through it in real time. He's outperforming fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel. 106 preseason passer rating compared to Gabriel's 66. But still fighting to be taken seriously as a contender for the starting job. Why? Because when you challenge the old system, the backlash comes dressed as concern. But let's cut through the noise. This story isn't about whether SHEDEUR Sanders is starting week 1. This is about what his presence represents. If SHEDEUR keeps up this momentum, if his play matches the branding, he becomes the blueprint. And that blueprint is dangerous. Not to fans. Not to teammates, but to the league. Because if more rookies start asking for equity clauses, if they start demanding ownership of their NIL, if they walk into negotiations with influence already in hand, that shifts the power dynamic. Permanently, the days of waiting your turn could be over. The era of earn first, build later might not survive the next draft class. SHEDEUR isn't just the exception, he's the threat. A walking example of what happens when a player understands his value before the league tells him what it is. And that's why so many people are invested in seeing him fail. Because if he fails, they can point to this and say, this is what happens when you care more about branding than ball. They'll use him as a cautionary tale. But if he succeeds, if the on-field production keeps pace with the off-field momentum, that's a revolution. That means future rookies don't just come in looking for a contract. They come in looking for a partnership, a share, a say. And the NFL has never been ready for that. But it's coming, and SHEDEUR lit the fuse. So tell me, are we witnessing the beginning of the next era of athlete empowerment? Or is the machine going to crush the model before it spreads? Let's hear it in the comments. Like this if you think the system needs a shakeup. Share it with someone who's been watching this all unfold. And subscribe if you want the unfiltered stories from where sports, business, and chaos collide. Because SHEDEUR Sanders isn't just playing the game. He's rewriting it.